Ever ponder how one of the all-time great quarterbacks can recover from so many heartbreaking defeats? Today, we look at Peyton Manning's terrible life, which is full of heartbreak, amazing tenacity, and the unwavering struggle to overcome physical obstacles. We will cover every aspect of Peyton's protracted struggle with health problems and personal struggles that have impacted his work and life in ways you may not be aware of. So stay tuned until the very conclusion of the film. Many of you are familiar with Peyton Manning from his incredible football career, but his life story is much more extensive than his on-field accomplishments. Beneath the remarkable achievements and triumphs is a tragic yet inspiring story of perseverance and adversity. Peyton had to overcome an obstacle from the start that no one could have foreseen would lead to victory. Early on, physicians cautioned that his neck curvature could cause major issues later because he was born with a congenital spinal cervical weakness. Peyton played football at the high school, collegiate, and professional levels for many years without any serious problems in spite of this dire forecast. His early career was vibrant and thrilling, and his leadership, strength, and intelligence astounded his followers. However, they had no idea that Peyton was secretly engaged in a conflict that would try all of his remaining fortitude. When Peyton started having excruciating neck pain in February 2010, everything changed. A pinched nerve forced the once unstoppable quarterback to have surgery, which began a challenging and protracted path. After he had a disc herniation in his neck in 2011, his problems only got worse. His throwing arm weakened as a result of this injury, making it challenging for him to clutch a football solidly. Peyton had to get his physicians to examine his health more closely because the issue continued despite his best attempts to get better. He had yet another operation after it was discovered that his disc had herniated once more. The losses were terrible for a man known for possessing an iron will. A lengthy period of suffering, frustration, and the ongoing worry that his career might be gone followed the procedures, which were not the fast solutions that many had hoped for. The difficulties didn't end there. In just 19 months, Peyton Manning required 4 neck surgeries. He questioned whether he would ever be the same player again after each therapy, which presented its own set of difficulties. His decision to pursue a more permanent solution, a neck fusion procedure carried out in September 2011, was a significant turning point. In this significant therapy, the injured disc was removed, a bone transplant was used to replace the area, and 2 vertebrae were fused together using screws and a plate. The results weren't encouraging at first. In order to strengthen his arms, the doctors also advised Peyton to attempt throwing darts, but this turned out to be far more difficult than they had anticipated. After the surgery, Peyton once said that it was difficult to toss a football at first, and that the ball nosedived to the ground after just a few yards. Despite these formidable challenges, Peyton's resolve remained unwavering. Even as reports of his retirement started to circulate, he refused to let the losses define him. Beyond his fame and achievements, he had a love that drove him to return to the game. The objective was to reclaim a piece of himself that had been lost to suffering and disappointment. But there were heartaches along the way. Peyton missed the entire 2011 NFL season following 2 fast neck surgeries. Many people questioned if the quarterback who had enthralled fans for so many years would ever perform at his prior level again, which made it an unsettling time. The Indianapolis Colts, the team he had always wanted to play for, decided to cut ties with him just as he was beginning to get better. The Colts owner, Jim Irsay, commended Peyton's bravery and tenacity, but pointed out that Manning had failed his physical in March, and that the organization ultimately decided to cut him after 14 seasons. For a player who had dedicated so much of his life to the Colts, this dismissal was tough. This pivotal moment forced Peyton to reevaluate his football career and potential. Many perceived Peyton's 2012 decision to join the Denver Broncos as a second opportunity to demonstrate that he still possessed the skills necessary to play at the highest level. Re-entering the game proved difficult, though. Peyton had to retrain his football skills, starting with the fundamentals of throwing, catching, and holding a football. He said in a 2013 interview that it was much harder than he had ever thought to get back to his previous level of power and fitness. Even throwing a football to his brother Eli, he remembered, was a continual reminder of how much he had lost as he struggled with simple training exercises. He frequently lost sight of his own strength and his arm did not react as it once did. Peyton believed that he needed to start over from the beginning, which meant overcoming the constraints placed on him by his surgeries would take a great deal of perseverance, commitment, and willpower. With the encouragement of inspiring mentors like Duke head coach David Cutcliffe, Peyton gradually started to get back on track. However, it took him a long time to become better. He was gradually regaining some of the power and abilities that had previously characterized him by 2015. However, the effects of years of trauma were already noticeable. Peyton frequently talked about how his everyday life was characterized by ongoing anguish and misery. He would require more time to undress after games, and even basic activities like bending over or extending his arms could make him uncomfortable. His physique displayed the wounds of a long and difficult profession after decades of physical suffering. His passion for the game caused him to sustain a number of injuries, including twisted toes, scratches, and bruises. Peyton Manning eventually delivered his depressing retirement speech in 2016, following an outstanding 18-year NFL career. His voice cracked with grief as he bid farewell to the game that had given him so much. He thanked his family from the bottom of his heart and commended his teammates, coaches, supporters, and community. His retirement marked the end of a long journey that was marked by both sorrow and success, as well as the end of a career. He recognized the sacrifices he had made and the suffering he had experienced while traveling during this time of introspection. The tale of Peyton Manning serves as a potent reminder of both the remarkable resilience of the human spirit and the frailty of life. His tenacity is demonstrated by his serious health problems, his ongoing struggles to recover, and the pain of being cut from the squad he loved. He persisted in fighting in spite of the difficulties and the suffering. Despite the odds being against him, he never allowed his injuries to define who he was. Instead, he pushed himself to be the best. We appreciate you taking the time to read this detailed description of the terrible life of Peyton Manning. Please hit the like button, leave your thoughts and feelings in the comments section below, and subscribe for more stories that uncover the hidden truths behind the headlines if his trip inspired and impacted you as much as it did us. With your assistance, we may find more accurate and entertaining information while also celebrating the human spirit under the most difficult circumstances. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and we hope to see you again soon for more thought-provoking and motivating experiences.